My name is Margaret Lawson, and I never imagined the greatest heartbreak of my life would come from my own daughter. The day she calmly told me I should stay away from the lake house for the summer because there was no room for me, I finally realized that love and sacrifice do not always earn gratitude. Sometimes the people who benefit the most from your kindness are the first to forget everything you gave them. My husband, Daniel, and I spent more than 40 years dreaming about building a peaceful lake house where our family could gather every summer. Before we could make that dream come true, cancer took him away after a long and painful fight. I promised him that I would finish what we had started together. I invested my retirement savings, worked through every decision myself, and poured my heart into every detail. From the warm wooden floors to the stone fireplace and the green front door he always loved, every corner carried his memory. When it was finally complete, I believed it would become the place where our children and grandchildren would always feel connected. The first summer was everything I had hoped for. The house echoed with laughter, family dinners, fishing trips, and late-night conversations around the fire. Watching everyone together made me believe Daniel was somehow still with us. Those memories became the greatest reward for every sacrifice I had made. But everything slowly changed. My daughter, Emily, and her husband, Jason, began acting as though the house belonged to them. Jason constantly talked about renovations, furniture, and changes he wanted to make, while Emily quietly agreed with every suggestion. During Thanksgiving, she asked if I would transfer ownership of the house into their names because they used it more than anyone else. Her words shocked me. She was asking me to give away the dream her father and I had built together. I gently refused and told her the house would always remain in my name. Not long afterward, I received a letter from an attorney asking me to voluntarily transfer ownership. My own daughter had hired a lawyer to pressure me into giving them my home. Instead of arguing, I stayed silent and waited. A few weeks later, I drove to the lake house only to discover that my key no longer worked. They had changed the locks without telling me. I stood on the porch holding the useless key, staring through the windows at the fireplace I had chosen and the memories I had created. For the first time, I felt like a stranger outside my own home. Back home, I carefully reviewed every document. The deed clearly proved I was the sole owner. My attorney confirmed they had absolutely no legal claim to the property. Even then, I wanted to believe there was still hope for our relationship. I called Emily one last time and asked if I could visit the following weekend. She hesitated before explaining that Jason's parents would be staying there and suggested I wait another month. In that moment, something inside me finally broke. I realized I needed permission to enter the home I had built with my own hands. Instead of fighting with them, I quietly made a different decision. I listed the lake house for sale, and within days, it sold to a wonderful family who genuinely appreciated it. I never mentioned the sale to Emily. On the 4th of July weekend, she called me in complete panic after discovering strangers living there. She demanded to know what had happened. I calmly told her I had sold the house because if there was no room for its owner, then it was no longer my home. I wished the new family happiness and closed that chapter of my life without regret. The money gave me something far more valuable than another house. I invited several women who had spent their lives caring for others while constantly putting themselves last. Together, we enjoyed a peaceful vacation by the ocean. We laughed without guilt, watched the sunrise, shared our stories, and finally allowed ourselves to experience the kindness we had always given everyone else. Standing beside the waves, one friend smiled and said they sounded like applause. At that moment, I realized life was finally celebrating us instead of asking us for more. A few weeks later, Emily sent an email apologizing for everything that had happened. For a brief moment, I thought she truly understood the pain she had caused. Then I reached the end of the message where she asked if I could lend her $15,000 because they were struggling financially. I quietly closed my laptop. Her apology was not about love. It was about losing access to something she believed belonged to her. That evening, I returned to my kitchen and slowly made Daniel's favorite peach jam, just as he had taught me years ago. As the sweet smell filled the room, I understood a lesson that had taken nearly 70 years to learn. A home is never defined by its walls, its land, or its value. A real home is built with respect, gratitude, and people who make you feel welcome. I may have lost the lake house we once dreamed about, but in letting it go, I found something far more precious. I found my peace, my independence, and finally, myself.